A damning new investigation by the Washington Post, which has determined that more than 3,100 Indigenous students died at boarding schools in the United States between 1828 and 1970. That figure is 3 times the number of deaths reported earlier this year by the U.S. Interior Department. The Post's year-long investigation also found more than 800 students were buried in cemeteries at or near the schools, which were designed to crush Native American culture. Many of the children had been forcibly removed from their families and tribes.
One of our sources called these not schools, but rather prison camps. They were work camps. They were not meant to educate Native American students to become doctors or lawyers. They were meant to educate them, I say educate with air quotes, educate them in manual labor. Often the students were reported to be 2-3 years behind academically. Some students who survived these schools talk of coming home and having skills that were completely unusable in their communities if they managed to survive them. The impact of these schools is still being felt in many ways. As I mentioned, there are several hundred survivors from these schools. They're dealing with the traumas of having gone through these schools, of having been taken away from their tribe, their communities, their families. That has a generational impact on how they raised their children or how they did not know how to raise their children, of grappling with what it means to be away from your home, away from your community, away from your traditions, away from your language. That's left a huge knowledge gap, as we Native Americans call it, in language and in culture. There is a rebuilding of those languages and of those culture traditions, but still it is very, very hard to deal with that trauma. Many Native American survivors are only now beginning to talk about these traumas from decades ago.